Good evening, everybody. David Paul here in the KHOU 11 Weather Center. It is a Tuesday evening. It's 8 o'clock. We're in the heart of hurricane season, so here's your 8 o'clock tropical update for the Atlantic Basin. And here we are on September the 30th. We're on the downswing of the statistical peak, which happened on September 10th, but we're still in the statistical busy part of hurricane season. It's interesting. So here's the end of September. We go into October tomorrow. October has this weird secondary peak. It's weird, but it's there. Just anecdotally, it is most likely that we get that secondary peak because we get these mid-latitude troughs that'll push off the east coast of the U.S. and those frontal boundaries. And quite often this time of the year they become more numerous and you get storms that'll fire up on those fronts. So it's the cold fronts that start coming in October, especially the second half of October, and those are responsible for a lot of tropical activity as they get over the still warm water of the West Atlantic and they fire off tropical systems. So that's why we get that secondary peak. Still in the time of year when you can get development anywhere in the Gulf, Carib, East Coast, which is where we've got all the activity going on right now with Humberto and Imelda. But you can still get development out in the main development region. There's a trough out there, but we're not seeing any development right now. So here we are on the storm count. And it really has been a feast or famine as far as the storm intensity type of a season. Andrea, Barry, Chantal, Dexter, and Fernand were all piddly little tropical storms. They came in very quickly. They were minimal tropical storms. Winds did not get close to hurricane strength, I don't think in any of them, and came and went. Barry, you may remember, is the one that hit near Tampico, Mexico, but then eventually sent all the moisture into Texas, which enhanced our flooding earlier in the summer. But that's been like the only big impact from any of it was tropical moisture, remnant moisture that's made its way into Mexico and Texas from Barry. Let's see, Aaron went Cat 5, Gabrielle went Cat 4, Humberto went Cat 5, that's now down to a 1, and Imelda is a 1. It is actually forecast to get to at least Cat 2 before Imelda finally fizzles out as it heads into the open Atlantic. Maybe it'll go to Cat 3. Maybe every hurricane that pops up this season will just be a major hurricane. We shall see. Seasonal forecasting by the end of the season, we'd have 16. So what are we at, 9 right now? We've had 4 hurricanes, so we're halfway to the number of hurricane count. We've had our 3 majors. That was forecast by Colorado State University. So we're getting there. Surface temperatures on the Atlantic Ocean, 88, almost 90 in the Gulf of Mexico. It is 90, the sea surface temperature, the skin temperature of the water. In the West Carib, 88. Central Carib, man, these are really warm. But again, just because you have sea surface temperatures at 90, way warm, doesn't mean you're going to get tropical activity. So many other factors go into it. Sea surface temperature at its basic form is like checking a box. Once sea surface temps are 80 or above, that's the threshold you can get tropical development. If you do get a developed system and the upper level winds and everything else is just right, and you put it over 90-degree water, that's the condition where a storm can really blow up. But the upper level winds also have to be correct. You can't have shear. It's got to be an unsheared environment. You can't have any dry air entraining into the system. But if you don't have those two things, if you've got unsheared environment with lots of moisture and 90-degree surface temperature, you can get a big storm. But right now, there's nothing in the Caribbean or the Gulf. It's absolutely as quiet as a mouse out there. It's here that we've got Humberto and Imelda going. Sea surface temperatures are in the mid to upper 80s out there right now. There is Humberto, there is Imelda. They are both beginning to make their moves east, away from the East Coast. So those are the 2 special features. You can see what I mean. Look how quiet the Carib and the Gulf are. This is the only other active tropical wave in the central Atlantic. It is not showing any signs of development. You can see the wind shear. See the clouds being stretched off. There's an upper level low sitting right there. And then you got a big high, basically like that right there. So that's likely not to develop. Again, Imelda, 85-mile-an-hour hurricane. Humberto, 80-mile-an-hour hurricane. Both of them now beginning to get sheared. You can see all the clouds in Humberto being pulled off to the east as the upper level winds begin to pull on Humberto and Imelda, both at Cat 1. I mean, it's fascinating to see two hurricanes just sitting here off the coast of the Carolinas and the Virginias, but there they are. And there they go. In fact, what there is of Humberto is going to fizzle out pretty quickly. Imelda's low hangs on longer as it heads into the North Atlantic. And just real quickly, let me just do this live. Let me back this up. So this is still forecast, I believe. Yeah, there you go. Forecast to go Cat 2 as we head into Wednesday evening. So we would have a Cat 2, and it's going to go over Bermuda. So Bermuda, folks in Bermuda who are watching us from Bermuda, you know, it looks like you may take a direct hit from a very fast moving forward speed Cat 2 Imelda. And then it will continue to race off as it gets caught up in the upper level winds, racing off to the east. And that will be all she wrote of both systems. By the time we get into Saturday, it's a remnant low up there east of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. Why are they moving that way? It's the upper level winds. You can see the trough right here, the trough that's been dug out in the upper levels. This upper level winds, this is the flow at about 34,000 feet. So not only do you have the trough here, but also, you know, here's a high pressure area. There's a big ridge of high pressure. So that's flowing northeast, the trough flowing northeast. It's caught right in the middle, and those are going to just accelerate off to the north and east because of the upper level flow. Systems like this travel around areas of high pressure and low pressure. They don't travel into them. So you've got a low here, you've got a high here, and so they're caught up in the flow around these areas of high and low pressure. So off they go to the northeast. That's the flow you're seeing there in the upper levels. So as I put them in motion, they race off to the northeast and off they go into the North Atlantic, and eventually it'll bring wind and rain to Great Britain. That's going into Saturday. And after that, we don't see anything else developing in the tropics through after those two by the time we get into Saturday. One other thing you may notice, we are changing seasons. Big sharp trough out here in the northwest, Rocky Mountain states, Pacific Northwest. A little bit of snow showing up in the mountains of Wyoming and into the higher elevations of Montana. West of Bozeman, they're going to get a little bit of snow in the higher elevations there as seasons are changing. And so that keeps all the rain offshore. If you'll remember, late last week we were concerned, you know, if Imelda were to move inland. And if you remember, we had that forecast come that had that bubble right here. It was either going to go inland or stay offshore, and just as likely either scenario worked out. As it worked out, it's the offshore scenario that is working, so all the rain stays offshore. You end up with pleasant weather in the Carolinas and the mountains. Okay, back to Houston, more of the same. So, you know, we do severe weather here in Houston so often, with rain, thunder, wind, derecho, hurricanes, ice storms, drought. And when we get these quiet stretches, sometimes it's almost like we're in severe weather. It's severely quiet. And it will continue that way for the next several days. 68 in the morning, 89 in the afternoon, sunny and warm. 7-day forecast. We bring in a slight little change long range, and that is a 20% chance for a scattered shower as we head into the weekend and going into early next week. But otherwise, temperatures don't move much. There are no big cold fronts coming. There's no big rain event coming that we see. It just for the next 7 days is just really persistence. It's more of the same. It may actually be that the humidity comes up a little bit as we head into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week. That is where we stand, my friends. Next live broadcast on KHOU 11 News at 10 on the TV side and on Plus Live. We'll see you then for our next live broadcast.